Hello, I'm Sonic. We will learn about mathematical vector basics. In mathematics, physics, and engineering, we also say, a Euclidean vector. A Euclidean vector is a geometric object that has magnitude, or length, and direction. Vectors can be added to other vectors according to vector algebra. A Euclidean vector is frequently represented by a line segment with a definite direction, or graphically as an arrow, connecting an initial point A with a terminal point B, and denoted by AB with overhead arrow. The Latin word vector, meaning carrier, first used by 18th century astronomers investigating planetary revolution around the Sun. Vectors play an important role in physics. The velocity and acceleration of a moving object and the forces acting on it can all be described with vectors, like Miles Tails Prower discussed you. Let's follow the basic properties of vectors: vector equality, opposite vectors, addition and subtraction of vectors, scalar multiplication, and length of vector. Let's start with the equality of vector. The two vectors which have equal length and equal direction, like first vector 2a equals second vector 2a, that is, both vector are parallel. If one other vector has its different length, like 3a, or different direction, this will not have an equality of vectors. Next, the opposite vectors. When one other vector is opposite in direction, like the first vector 2a, another vector will go in negative direction, that is minus 2a. Next, the addition and subtraction of vectors. Assume now that a and b are not necessarily equal vectors, but that they may have different magnitudes and directions. The sum of vectors is a plus b equals c. Either you can follow triangle law, or parallelogram law of vector addition. If one other vector is reversed, then we do the subtraction. We can write a minus b equals d as a difference. This changes the resultant of a vector. Next, the scalar multiplication. A vector may also be multiplied, or rescaled, by a real number r. For example, the vector a will stretch 4 times. This returns the result of a vector 4a. Finally, the length of a vector. The length or magnitude or norm of the vector a is denoted by its absolute value, like modulus. Absolute value of a equals square root of a times a. If we write as a unit vector a equal to a divided by absolute value a, this is known as normalizing a vector. And if it is a zero vector, the mark is at the origin, and its symbol is 0 with overhead arrow. It has an arbitrary or indeterminate direction, and cannot be normalized. The sum of zero vector is 0 plus a equals a. So, these are the basic properties of vectors. Like, comment, and subscribe now.